What's the dumbest thing you've ever been afraid of as a child? Flushing the toilet at night. It seemed so loud and would literally freak me out. I was afraid Chucky would crawl up from the toilet while I was pooping and stab me in the butt. I have no idea why I thought this would happen. Also doorway gremlins. Legit was afraid I would walk through a door and there would be gremlin monsters on the other side at the top waiting to pounce on me and kill me. Again, no idea why I thought this would happen. When I was a kid I had recurring nightmares about Chucky. Until one time in my dream I may have been lucid dreaming and I killed him in much the same way he dies in the first movie. Never had the nightmare again. The man at the bottom of the stairs. I've never seen his spooky ass. But I know he chases me up every time. That sumbitch has been chasing me up the stairs for 35 years. At 5, I was afraid that if people talked shit about the wind it would send a tornado to kill them. One time my dad said, "Damn. It's so windy," and I was like, "Dad, no." The best friend of my dad. Honestly, he is such a funny, amazing and nice person, and I was literally crying and screaming while running away. I used to have a recurring nightmare about a vampire parrot that we kept as a pet for some reason. In my dream, it was a family pet. And we just kept him in a cage, hanging from the ceiling in the hall. It was just a regular looking parrot. Totally unassuming. My family believed it was just a cute, feathery, colorful critter, but nobody else realized it would feed on me. When they couldn't see it, it would steal my blood. When I cried to my parents, they refused to believe me. Nobody believed me. Here's the thing. It didn't bite me to drain my blood. It hooked me up to an IV, and drained my blood directly into its little bird body. I don't actually know how it managed to do this. There would be some twist of dream logic and suddenly it was just happening. In the dream, I would be sitting in a chair, IV attached, blood draining into the evil bird. My parents might even be standing right there. I would cry and cry because he's taking too much of my blood. Mommy, he's going to kill me. It was all happening right in front of them. But they would just tell me to stop making things up. It's like they couldn't see the dark transfer unfolding right in front of them. And the bird knew. I never actually had a parrot as a pet. He only existed in my dreams. But he popped in to have his feast every week or so. For a significant period of my 3-year-old life. The time before I was old enough to realize I was too large to be sucked down the bathtub drain. Shots, vaccinations. I was convinced that my veins were already full of blood, and injecting any more liquid into them would cause them to explode. Automatic stairs. I thought if I wouldn't jump in time I would be trapped and crushed. I was very anxious about eating soup. I thought we had a stomach-like compartment for solids, and a separate one for liquids. The solids were processed by the body and became poop. The liquids were processed and became urine. Two complete systems independent of each other. If food or drink went where it wasn't meant to go, the person would cough and splutter to give the body a chance to move it to the appropriate receptacle, hence the concerned parent saying, "Oops. Wrong hole. You okay?" Someone told me it was unhealthy to have a drink with your meal, when in fact the opposite is true. Reinforcing this separate systems idea in my mind. So where did soup go? The chunky kind. And what about stews, gravy, ice cream? The more I thought about it, the more anxious I became. God hearing me swearing. Sometimes I would hide in the closet from God and just chanted for a while all the bad words I have learned from the older kids. Balloons. Specifically, balloons popping. When I was really young my dad popped one near my face as a joke. But it really traumatized me. I hated going to birthday parties because there were always games where you had to pop a balloon in some form. I eventually grew out of it. But even now at 32 I still feel a bit uneasy when I hear that sound. Me too. I remember going to a party and crying because they had the pop the balloon game and I didn't want to. I was okay with other kids popping theirs, so long as it wasn't too close to me. But no way I was going to pop one. In the end the mother of the party gently snipped the neck of mine so it deflated slowly. Santa Claus. Nothing scary than an old man coming down the chimney of little kids and giving them presents. So, when I was kid I was absolutely sure I put this green pea snap on a table and saw it crawling. I refused to eat it, thinking it was a bag of bugs pretending to be dead so you would be tricked to eat it. Yes. 4-year-old me was dumb. It was when I was in my teens that I found out my old nanny brought me to her boyfriend's place when my parents were out. And while they would do it next door, they would give some kind of medicine to knock me out, apparently. I picked up a pea cracker in the midst of passing out and hallucinated about it. It was also why my nanny got fired not long after. Thought a huge human-sized panda was waiting for me up the stairs of this a 2-story apartment. My aunt lived on the bottom floor where the entrance was. I was like 4, but whenever we walked past I got a bad feeling. Michael Jackson. My sister told me he was a demon. My sister is 6 years older than me and my twin. When we were 5-ish she told us she was secretly a witch and she needed to eat children to survive. My brothers convinced me that Jaws and other sharks would be attracted to my red life jacket and made me terrified of jumping into the water. The water of a freshwater lake. I was scared my poop would somehow come out the small gap between the toilet and the seat, so I used to poop with my legs sticking out straight so it wouldn't get on me. Physics was never going to be a strong suit for me. You know the sound a dove and pigeon makes? I used to think they were ghosts. I thought my parents were lying to me about it being birds. I would run back into the house if I heard one sing. My grandmother once told me that mourning doves will only coo to people who are about to die. She learned that some tall tales are not appropriate for kids after the existential panic attack 2 weeks later. Quicksand. I thought it was going to be a huge problem. I used to avoid soft mushy mud. I've yet to quickly sink in sand. Used to have that as well. It seemed to happen all the time on TV. You're just walking along and all of a sudden, sinking to a slow death in quicksand. As a teen I went to a science-y summer camp and actually floated in quicksand. Found it surprisingly easy to extract myself from it. Only ooky part was kicking hard things while floating in it. I asked what they were. And one of the counselors said, probably just sticks, but there could be some animal bones. I was suddenly much more afraid of getting rabies by kicking a raccoon skull than quicksand. Not helpful. Camp counselor. My dad convinced me that he would turn into a goldfish at night and turn back into a human in the morning. I was afraid of Charlie Chaplin. All his movies used to creep me out. Just seeing his pic for some reason filled me with fear. When I lock the toilet cabine it won't open anymore and I have to stay there forever. Haven't done it until middle school, and yes, that leads to many embarrassing moments. Used to have the same fear. Once when I was little, I locked myself in a bathroom in an embassy to take a dump. Little did I know that the lock was stiff. So when I went to open it I couldn't. I was scared shitless. Until my dad came and unlocked the door from the outside. After that I was scared to lock the door for a few years. So I pretty much never did. Then I became a strong boy and realized that I could easily open it. Getting shocked if I tried to plug in an electrical appliance. I was going to vacuum but couldn't find the plug and used my fingers to guide it in. Woke up on the floor. Tapeworms. As a child I asked my parents why it was so itchy down there. After learning the horrific truth I was so terrified that I held in a mega duche for hours. The most painful screening of Air Force One I have ever had the displeasure of enduring. Edit. Pinworms. I was terrified of the Operation game. I would have full-on panic attacks if I saw it within my vicinity. I think it was the bzzz noise, electrical shocks, red nose that scared me so much. I was absolutely horrified by that game. My poor mother just wanted me as a child to have fun XD. The toilet for an embarrassingly long time. When I flushed I had to close the lid, stand as far back as possible, and then run. I still do this in public restrooms. But because I don't want to be splashed. I'm 56. I'm over 50 and to this day never ever dangle any of my limbs over the edge of the bed because I am convinced something evil lives under the bed. And no matter where I've lived. This has been the case since I was 5 and not only watched the Evil Doll episode in Trilogy of Terror, but also was terrified by the tiny people who lived in the walls in 1973's Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. Single quote. Beds were sort of ruined for me after I read a short story called Humans Can Lick Too. But I have a bed now that has storage drawers underneath the mattress. Unless something lives in those. Oh God, what have I done? Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button. See you next time.